Even as 5 more Kenyans have succumbed in the last 24 hours to the deadly coronavirus, the country stares into yet another health challenge in the country. This is after healthcare workers downed their tools beginning today. Good evening and welcome to Channel 1 News Hour on this 7th day of December 2020. Hope you've had a wonderful day. Time for a comprehensive news briefing. But first things first, let's have a taste of what we have lined up for you tonight.
Na uongozi watu ni kuchukua wanachukua, sio kupatia unapatiwa. Kama mnagoja kupatiwa, basi no problem. Mtagojea mpaka muwe wazee na wengine wakuje, but you must take it, you must grab it, you must move with it, and you must take ownership.
Fight for your political space. President Uhuru Kenyatta challenges young people not to wait for opportunities like manna, but go for them. Make your stand known. Opposition leader Raila Odinga calls on Deputy President to state his position on the BBI debate.
If we are not provided with the right protective equipment, we are not going to agree to work, because we cannot continue exposing our families and our patients.
It's at this time that you must come out and call your government into action.
And health services disrupted as health workers down tools demanding better pay and protective gear. Simon Karoda is my colleague on the bottom right of your screen, and he will be handling the sign language interpretation for tonight. My name is Ben Troy Njue, and remember, we are also live from the broadcasting house right here in the county of Nairobi, not to mention on Facebook, on YouTube, and also on Twitter. Kindly, your comments, suggestions, or even where you are watching us from, and I'll be delighted to sample some during and after this comprehensive news bulletin. At Ben Troy Njue, at KBC Channel 1. Welcome. President Uhuru Kenyatta has challenged young people in the country to be proactive and claim their space in driving the country towards prosperity. The president, who was speaking during the launch of a high-level youth campaign dubbed Kenya ni Mimi, said the youth make up 75% of the country's population and should take responsibility and ownership of the country. The president used the event to rally young people to support the Building Bridges Initiative report, saying it seeks to open up a new chapter in Kenya. Kamche Menza starts off our news bulletin tonight.
The Bombers of Kenya Auditorium was on Monday morning packed with a section of youth from all 47 counties to support the launch of a youth campaign dubbed Kenya ni Mimi, an initiative that seeks to not only improve the welfare of the young generation, but also fully engage them as a critical resource to drive the development agenda of the country.
It is so that we help you know about government programs. Ni kitu ambacho mjue kuhusu mental health na sexual reproductive health. Ni kitu ambacho inafundisha climate conservation and environment conservation.
And with statistics indicating that 35.7 million people in the country are below 35 years of age, this critical mass is a resource necessary to drive Kenya to the next frontier.
Let me tell you, Your Excellency, of the 5.2 million signatures that we got during the 2-week period, about 4 million were from this generation.
And what we need right now is for the young people to step up, stand up, and be counted. Interrogate your values, bring your productivity and your energy to the national discourse, and take every opportunity that the government provides.
President Uhuru Kenyatta, who graced the event, challenging the young people not to shy away from pertinent national issues, saying time had come for them to take charge of the affairs of the nation.
muwe watu ambao mtakuwa muna dictate, sio kuwa dictated tu. Museme hii ndio tunataka na hii ndio Kenya tunayotaka. As you have heard, 70% of you, majority shareholder, should begin to take ownership and responsibility and not allow the minority shareholder to dictate to you what should or should not be your future.
Don't you think Kenya is ready for a cabinet secretary who is 30 years old?
If you are in our shoes, would you marry first or would you make money first?
Do you think that we should adopt crazy and radical solutions like giving tax holidays to companies hiring young people in locked age groups, like let's say 20 to 30 years?
President Kenyatta said for a long time a majority of the country's shareholders, who are the youth, have not taken responsibility. The head of state calling on the young people to make their numbers count by offering themselves for national leadership positions.
Na uongozi watu ni kuchukua wanachukua, sio kupatia unapatiwa. Kama munagoja kupatiwa, bas no problem. Mutagojea mpaka muwe wazee na wengine wakuje, but you must take it, you must grab it, you must move with it, and you must take ownership.
He said young people cannot make any difference as long as they continue staying on the back seat instead of taking bold steps aimed at transforming not only their lives but the country at large. The head of state using the platform to woo young people to support the Building Bridges Initiative report as a wholesome document that seeks to shape the agenda to create a culture that safeguards a nationhood. Kamchemenza for Channel 1 News.
To the latest health situation in the country, where health services in various hospitals across the country remained grounded after the Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and Kenya National Union of Nurses made good their threat to proceed on strike beginning Monday. The healthcare workers are decrying, among other grievances, shortage of personal protective equipment, lack of risk allowance and delayed promotions. But opposition leader Raila Odinga is appealing to the striking health workers to reconsider their actions, saying it is not the right time to paralyze the health sector when the country is battling the coronavirus pandemic.
This was the situation at the Migori County Referral Hospital. Patients left stranded following the ongoing strike by nurses and clinical officers that began Monday morning countrywide. The health workers are accusing both levels of government of giving them a deaf ear on the issues touching on their welfare. According to the leadership of Kenya Union of Clinical Officers and that of Kenya National Union of Nurses, there is a shortage of personal protective equipment in various health facilities across the country, putting many frontline workers at risk.
For the longest time, and this is not new to our government, is that we have raised several issues which we call them pertinent healthcare issues in this country. And we have said, number one, that healthcare workers must be provided with adequate and high-quality personal protective equipment.
The healthcare workers are also seeking risk allowances and promotions, among other demands.
As healthcare workers, especially the nurses, who are close to the patients, their plight has been ignored for long. We have been tabling our demands and issues to both levels of government with no tangible response from both governments.
The two unions have vowed to boycott work until the government addresses their grievances, even as their counterparts, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, suspended their planned strike for at least 2 weeks to allow room for negotiation.
Solidarity forever, for the union makes us strong.
Meanwhile, ODM leader Raila Odinga has called on the nurses to reconsider the industrial action and instead focus on service delivery, especially during this pandemic period. Raila, while accompanied by the Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya, said the pandemic had battered every sector and any resource mobilization will prove difficult at the moment.
This is not the time really to hold the government to ransom. And the doctors themselves take an oath to protect life. How then do you justify downing your tools when people are dying, lives which you can actually save? So I want our doctors to become more realistic and more understanding that though they are suffering, it's not only doctors who are suffering. You've got the teachers, you've got the engineers, you've got the lecturers.
Wycliffe Okech, Channel 1 News.
And still on health, Kenya has confirmed another 199 cases of coronavirus from 2,416 samples tested in the last 24 hours, taking the country's caseload to 88,579. 485 patients were discharged in the same period after full recovery, with 83 patients still admitted at the intensive care units in various hospitals across the country.
Kenya's COVID-19 caseload now stands at 88,579 after 199 people tested positive for coronavirus in the last 24 hours from a sample size of 2,416. In statement, the Ministry of Health says 934,215 samples have been tested since March, when the first coronavirus case was reported in the country. From the latest cases, 177 are Kenyans while 22 are foreigners, with 123 being males while 76 are females. The youngest is a 3-year-old baby and the oldest is a 90-year-old. According to the latest 24-hour statistics, Nairobi County recorded 77 cases, Mombasa 21, Busia 20, Uasin Gishu 19, Meru 11, Kiambu 9, West Pokot and Kilifi 7 each, Turkana 5, Laikipia, Narok and Kajiado 4 each, Murang'a 3, Kakamega 2, Nakuru, Kisumu, Embu, Machakos, Siaya and Kwale 1 each. At the same time, 485 patients have won the battle against COVID-19. 416 of them were placed in the home-based care program, while 69 had been receiving treatment from various hospitals countrywide. Unfortunately, the virus claimed 5 more lives, taking the nation's death toll to 1,531. To date, 1,171 patients are admitted at various hospitals, with another 8,127 on home-based care program. Ben Chumba, reporting for Channel 1 News.
In other news, administrators from northern Kenya want the government to crack hard on politicians fanning violence in the restive Isiolo-Garissa border. The two, Isaiah Nakoru and Nicodemus Ndalana from eastern and northeastern regions respectively, said it was time for those behind the endless clan clashes to pay. The two had appeared before the National Cohesion and Integration Commission that is probing the root cause of the recurrent skirmishes that have left dozens dead and hundreds others displaced.
It is at a meeting convened by NCIC to find a lasting solution to the perennial skirmishes at the Isiolo and Garissa border, where it emerged that the existence of illegal firearms, lack of clear boundary demarcations, and incitement by a section of political leaders are to blame for the endless clashes. In a joint communique, the Eastern and Northeastern Regional Commissioners Isaiah Nakoro and Nicodemus Ndalana respectively promised to start a disarmament exercise in the area immediately, urging locals to surrender their illicit arms.
We have already started disarmament. It's ongoing. You have seen Isiolo disarmament has been going on. Marsabit is ongoing. So it's something that is ongoing.
They called on the NCIC and DCI to act tough on political leaders inciting communities against each other.
NCIC and the police, and especially the DCI, to arrest those politicians that are suspected to be inciting the local population to fight each other.
they should take action against all the members of parliament who are fueling crisis.
Sentiments echoed by political leaders from Isiolo and Garissa who called on the national government to resolve the boundary issues between the two counties.
The boundary should be drawn immediately. There are 3 resolutions that have been reached, 2016, 2014, 2016 and 2019, and none of those have been implemented. Boundaries can be done, but there are people living in those places and they have been living there for decades and decades, and therefore, it's a matter that requires to be given the full attention that it deserves.
The local leaders also citing clash in administrative operation within the area.
They have recruited 4 chiefs and 6 sub-chiefs. Last year, OP wrote to the regional commissioners and advised them to return those chiefs to the area of jurisdiction.
We agreed that we should go sit down and agree on a modality of moving the chiefs either back to Garissa, or if they are not in agreement with that, we have them remain on the other side of Isiolo but answerable to Isiolo.
They pleaded with the local population to maintain peace and coexist peacefully. Suleiman Yeri, Channel 1 News.
You're indeed watching Channel 1 News Hour at about 15 minutes past the hour. Paul Okach tuned in from Homa Bay County. Joseph Okwayo moving with you every step you take. KBC ni mambo yote. Thank you, Joseph. Shem Mongare, you are also watching. Father Kioko from Karen, Nairobi. Somsairo Olesamai, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Chebet Livin Tepesonik in Boreti, Leonard and Nyarino from Ruaraka. Thank you indeed for keeping me company, but let's have that quick break. But when we come back, more news including business.
Ni mimi. Ulitoa pikipiki? Mulitani sitaomoka. Ni yako. Hii nduti ni yangu. Niliwahi pale Quickbit. Quickbit? Quickbit imekuja kusaidia wananchi kama sisi. Nilinunua 399 shillings. Juu nilikuwa the lowest unique bidder. 399 shillings. Quickbit shilingi moja unaweza nunua pizza. Shilingi 2 unaweza nunua microwave. Shilingi 5 unaweza nunua hata gari. So tupeleke huko hata mtu aende huko.
Jiunga na Quickbit ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbit.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio ununua. Quickbit, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
All you can do, what no man can do. Only you can say.
Winners Chapel International Nairobi invites you to join us at Shiloh 2020. Theme: Turnaround Encounters. Come full of expectation. 8th to 11th December 2020 as we broadcast live from Faith Tabernacle, Ota, Lagos, Nigeria, with the Bishop Dr. David Oyedepo, live on KBC Channel 1 and Radio Taifa from 10 p.m. to midnight. On the next episode of Ashoka.
Someone had attacked us in a similar fashion.
What do you intend to do about the baby growing in Dharma's womb? We don't have any time to waste now. The change in Dharma is apparent.
My mother told me that while helping someone, one shouldn't be concerned about his own pain.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
As usual, the show is gonna be lit. We are hosting Jackie Chandiru all the way from Uganda.
I'm not a gold digger. The reasons as to why they thought I was dead is because I just went MIA. I wasn't speaking to people, so people assumed I was dead.
And in this song, if you listen to it keenly, they hinted something. Also, we have a chit chat with Cindy Isendi.
And it's such an honor to represent Kenya in Miss International in the 60th anniversary.
Welcome back and thanks for keeping me company. To security matters now, the government intends to establish a national youth service post in Kwale County in a bid to provide an alternative working option for hundreds of jobless youths who may fall prey to radicalization into criminal gangs. The development coming in the wake of the arrest of over 200 youth at a recruitment exercise into the outlawed Mombasa Republican Council group in Mombasa last week.
The arrest and arraignment in court of Ambari Seda, a self-declared leader of the outlawed MRC group, as well as over 200 youths at an oath-taking ceremony in Jomvu last week, has placed security apparatus in Mombasa and Kwale on high alert on the possibility of re-emergence of criminal gangs at the coast. The Security Council, which however claims to have the situation under control, attributes the current state of affairs to joblessness and radicalization via extremist teachings.
COVID-19 imezorotesha uchumi wetu na vijana wengi ambao hawana kazi na wengineo. Lakini si sababu ya kwamba wajiingize kwa visa ambayo inaweza leta utovu wa usalama.
Speaking in Matuga, Kwale County, as he met the administrative and security units of the county, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i assured of the government's commitment in tackling the matter at its infancy.
The criminal incidents that happen here, I would call them common or ordinary. You know, they're not unique in any particular way that you can describe them that way, that can, scare tourists or scare investors and so on. When we notice something unusual happening, or when we notice a very unusual movement happening at a very small scale, we move in very quickly because we are very well coordinated between ourselves and the county government.
Matiang'i reaffirmed the government's decision to invest in a national youth service post within the county, as well as the fast-tracking of the completion of several vocational institutions as alternatives to combat criminal activities in the area.
We are all focusing on ensuring that we now create programs and frameworks that involve our young people to avoid all these temptations that our people are getting of being told you are marginalized, you are not included, and so on. We have limitless and inexhaustible opportunities. We just need to prepare our people to take full advantage of these opportunities as they go forward.
Matiang'i further reassured residents of Msambweni constituency of heightened security ahead, during and after the 15th December by-elections.
Tunataka kila mmoja, wanasiasa na wananchi, washirikiane na serikali na vyombo vya usalama ili zoezi hii ya uchaguzi isiwe ni mwanzo wa kulete semi, isiwe ni mwanzo wa kuleta hali ambayo inaweza kuwa taharuki. Uchaguzi utafanywa siku moja, maisha yataendelea.
In Chonyi, Kilifi County, the ministry has formed a special unit task force to deal with incidents of crime, murder and increased patrol in the area. Security posts across the coastal region have further been remapped ahead of the festive season. Juni Karisa Mbele from Mombasa County.
Moving on, ODM party leader Raila Odinga has once again challenged Deputy President William Ruto to come out openly and declare his stand on the BBI report. Raila said continued flip-flopping by the Deputy President was only meant to derail the process. He spoke in Vihiga County when he attended the burial ceremony of the father to the Busia County Women Rep Florence Mutua. Achola Simon with the details.
ODM leader Raila Odinga has once again challenged the Deputy President William Ruto to publicly declare his stand on BBI instead of taking the country in what he termed as unnecessary circles with new demands every day.
If you are strong enough, stand up and say no. Just say no. Don't waste people's time. Ati this wananchi wanalewa, sijui nini, mambo ya wanawake.
Kama you have an issue that is not in the BBI. Wakati Ekura Rukot alikuwa anapunguza mzigo, kwa nini hawakumpelekea hiyo maneno?
Raila, while accompanied by the Council of Governors Chair Wycliffe Oparanya and a host of other leaders at the burial ceremony of the father to the Busia County Women Rev Florence Mutua in Vihiga County, say the proposed multiple choices questioned by the DP during the referendum was not friendly to the electorate.
Even if somebody who has been to school for 12 years, it's a challenge. Now you're asking an illiterate person. See, that is a fellow who just want to say no.
Tunawapatilisha marekebisho ambayo tunataka 78 iwekwe pale. Ati ukiwa unasoma moja unatiki kufika 78 itachukua muda gani? Utakuwa umeenda kufanya mtihani au utakuwa umeenda kufanya piga? Nataka ni kwamba tuambiane ukweli kuhusu ni nini kiko ndani ya hiyo ripoti. Wale ambao wanadanganya wanasema tuwe na ballots 78. Tayari tuko na ballots 6. It will take a total of 78 questions plus 6 ballots, which is 84 ballots. Kwa sababu, so that you can be able to count each question separately.
He challenged the DP to publicly oppose the report rather than engaging in delaying tactics.
Wale ambao mnataka kuwa magovernors, ile changamoto ambao utakutana nayo ni kudili na MCAs wakati unakuwa na budget. Kwa vile wakati unakuwa na budget hivi, hata MCAs wakiwa marafiki zako wanageuka.
In Limuru, Gatundu South Member of Parliament Moses Kuria was forced to live in a half at a burial ceremony as Tangatanga legislators and their Kieweleweke counterparts tore into each other over the source of funds for the referendum.
Mheshimiwa Mwadhi wakiwaambia hakuna pesa ya serikali inatumika kwa BBI. Unless you are taking us for fools, we know pesa ya serikali inatumika kwa BBI. Vikuzaliwa ndeni umekuwa mwelevu zaidi, lakini hii uelevu ikianza kitambo tungekuwa tuko mbali. Kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Ichungwa hajawaeleza wakati budget committee na bunge ilikuwa inapitisha ndio tuende kuongeza deni ifike trilioni 9. Yeye ndiye alikuwa mwenyekiti. Sisi wengine wetu tulikataa, yeye akasema tukapitisha kama chair.
This even as the former IBC Commissioner Thomas Letangule tore into the report for what he called usurping the IBC powers in constituencies creation.
What this committee did, they actually usurped the power of IBC as provided in the Constitution, particularly Articles 88, 4E and 89 on the role of IBC in the limitation of boundaries.
Achola Simon for Channel 1 News from Vihiga County.
The corridors of justice now, and Esther Ndenya, a high school teacher who was with Machakos Senator Boniface Mutinda in Kilimani when he fell ill, will be detained for 7 more days for police to conclude investigations into the attempted murder of the legislator. Ndenya, a teacher at Mademba High School, was arrested last Friday after an incident where Machakos Senator collapsed at an apartment along Elgeyo Marakwet Road in Kilimani, Nairobi, in unclear circumstances. Esther Ndenya Muli, a teacher at Mademba High School, will now spend the next 7 days behind bars. This is after the court granted prosecution more time to allow police unravel what led to the collapse and hospitalization of Machakos Senator Boniface Mutinda Kabaka on Friday last week. The senator was in the company of Ndenya when he collapsed and was rushed at Nairobi Hospital, where he is admitted at the intensive care unit. Preliminary investigations revealed that the senator was in full health when he drove himself to 3D apartments at around 2 p.m. on Thursday, 3rd December, and booked an apartment where he later collapsed in the presence of Ndenya. Elsewhere, the Director of Public Prosecution, Nudin Haji, is still not ready to commence the 3 tax cases against businessman Humphrey Kariuki and 5 others 1 year and 4 months after it was filed. The DPP sought to consolidate the cases against the accused persons, but Kariuki's lawyers have termed the move as an abuse of the court process. The tycoon is out on an 11 million shillings bail after denying several charges including forgery, money laundering and tax evasion. Last month, the DPP withdrew charges against businessman Stuart Gerald Hard, a former director at Wow Beverages. The county government of Nakuru has committed to relocate and settle 4,000 families displaced by floods around Lake Naivasha. Area Governor Kenyatta Njue says landlords in affected areas of Kehoto Estate will be the first beneficiaries of this exercise. Details of this and more in the news briefs.
It is early Christmas for 4,000 families affected by flooding waters around Lake Naivasha. The county government of Nakuru says process to profile affected landlords would kick off in a fortnight from Kehoto Estate.
Tumeweka kando hospitali ya kuwatibu wakati wanapata COVID wao na familia zao.
In Nairobi, hundreds of abled differently children and elderly have received donations courtesy of the Rotary Club of Nairobi South. The Rotary Club president, Daisy Nyaga, says the initiative aims at putting a smile on the face of less fortunate this festive season. The donations coincide with the first anniversary of the late Rotarian Kudan Doshi.
We realize that we are going through a very difficult time, and the late Rotarian Doshi was very passionate about giving. It gave him a lot of fulfillment, and so by today's donation, we intend to put smiles on the faces of these children.
Nimefurahia sana kupata donations kwa hii home. Enyewe tulikuwa tunazimis, but tunashukuru sana kwa sababu imetoka kwa kujitolea kwenu.
In Makueni, thousands of locals have benefited from a free medical camp thanks to One Way Wise Health Services. The group's specialist leader, Dominic Mutuku, says more than 1,000 patients have received treatment for non-communicable diseases.
Tulitaka kufikia watu wenye wamewezwa na COVID-19, wenye wamepungukiwa na hela za kwenda hospitali, na wenye pia wanaogopa kwenda pale hospitali. Unajua pale hospitali kuna watu wengi na wanaogopa kupata COVID-19.
In Narok, Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Board Chair Agnes Parillo has urged parents whose children have fallen pregnant from the long holidays to support them back to schools in January. Parillo raised concerns over rising cases of teenage pregnancies in Narok County, attributing the vice to lack of proper guidance.
Chiefs wetu kwa kila pahali wahakikishe ya kwamba mtoto hatakosa nafasi ya kwenda shule eti kwa sababu amepata mimba na amezaa mtoto.
Separately, the government has warned illegal loggers of stern action if found culpable. Malindi Deputy County Commissioner Thuongugi at the same time warned residents they risk arrest if found cutting trees even from their own farms without the authority from the Kenya Forest Service. The administrator spoke during a tree planting exercise at Malindi Police Station. And a Kenyan woman is embroiled in a child custody tussle with her former boyfriend, a British national, and a former police detective attached to the Scotland Yard. The British national, identified as Kevin Barry Halley, met Helen Maria Imokor while on a visit to Kenya in 2016, and the two had a baby together in 2017. Irene Mchuma Odim, Channel 1.
Thanks, Irene. Now to a really uplifting story. A family of the baby who was detained at the Kenyatta National Hospital private wing due to medical bill arrears amounting to over 400,000 shillings is finally free to take their baby home. The family of baby Pendo Akinyi says it received overwhelming support from well-wishers shortly after KBC Channel 1 highlighted their plight. Channel 1's Purity Museo spent the day with the family at the Kenyatta National Hospital and filed the following report.
at the Kenyatta National Hospital's private wing newborn unit. Baby Pendo Akinyi is peacefully lying on her cot where she was transferred after 2 months of receiving special care in an incubator. Her grandmother is performing the motherly duties while nurses are preparing the baby ready to discharge her.
The first quality that we qualify a baby to go home, first this baby has to attain a weight of 2 kgs, that is 2 kilograms, and the baby is able to feed. The baby is opening bowels. Those are the things we have to qualify. Okay, that is the case of Stacy.
Unaware of the circumstances under which she was brought forth to the world, hers is a tragic story of a mother who would sacrifice her life to save her unborn child. Baby Stacy Pendo Akinyi was born prematurely at just 7 months in October this year, weighing 1.4 kilograms. Sadly, her mother passed away 2 days after she was born.
Kutoka hiyo siku sijapata time ya kupumzika. Nimekuwa nikikimbia juu chini. Mungu akatusaidia, tukaenda tukapumzisha mama. So tukarudi tuanze kupambana na mtoto.
The condition of the mother deteriorated and she lost the battle.
The medical arrears amounting to 1 million Kenyan shillings had kept the newborn longer at the facility.
Mimi upande wangu nilijaribu, lakini mali nilifika, nikaona nimefika mwisho, siwezi endelea.
The family managed to raise 600,000 Kenyan shillings, but still the baby could not leave the hospital until the remaining 400,000 Kenyan shillings was paid. Baby Pendo will never get to meet her biological mother, but thanks to KBC Channel 1 that highlighted her plight, she will Monday evening join her 3 siblings at home after well-wishers overwhelmingly supported the family shortly after we aired their story.
Nataka kushukuru KBC sana because vile wali hiyo story within 1 day hiyo pesa ilikuwa imepatikana.
Nashukuru sana nyinyi watu wa KBC kwa sababu bila nyinyi hatungeweza na mtoto angeendelea kukaa, pengine bili ingekuwa nyingi zaidi.
The family now has more than enough to take care of their baby at home. Healthcare providers at the Kenyatta National Hospital here at the private wing have assured the family of Dexter that baby Akinyi will lead a normal life once she walks out of this newborn unit. A tough and new journey for the family, but they are truly grateful to all well-wishers who came through to help them settle the hospital bill. Purity Museo, Channel 1 News at KNH, Nairobi.
Thank you for everyone who chipped in to help baby Penda. Further afield, voting started in Ghana early Monday as voters elect a new president and 275 members of parliament. This as Ethiopia Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed denies insurgency emerging in Tigray, while diplomats said a United Nations team was shot at while trying to visit a refugee camp.
Poll stations opened at 7 local time and are expected to close at 5. More than 17 million Ghanaians are eligible to vote in the elections. President Nana Akufo-Addo is seeking re-election for a second term and faces a challenge from former President John Mahama. This is Ghana's 8th election since the return of multi-party democracy in 1992. Elsewhere, a doctor in Ethiopia's Tigray regional capital Mekele says at least 27 people, including a 4-year-old, a 78-year-old and a family of 4, have been killed in fighting between federal and regional troops. But a statement from Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's office on Monday says there have been no civilian casualties and refers to Tigray regional forces as their criminal clique. The Prime Minister insists that the regional forces had been defeated despite denials from the regional leaders. And the first president of Namibia is showing signs of improvement during his treatment for coronavirus, the current president, Hage Geingob, has announced. Ex-leader Sam Nujoma was admitted to hospital on Sunday and is said to be in a stable condition. Finally, British and European Union negotiators made a last-ditch effort on Monday to bridge stubborn differences standing in the way of a post-Brexit trade deal, but they had at least 48 hours left to avoid a disorderly parting of ways at the end of this month. Meanwhile, talks between the UK and EU have resumed as the two sides make a final bid to reach a post-Brexit trade deal.
In business, Kenya is Tuesday expected to sign an economic partnership agreement with the United Kingdom ahead of Brexit next month. Industrialization and Trade Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina, who is leading Kenya's delegation to the UK to sign the pact, is calling on all relevant institutions such as Parliament to move with speed to ratify the trade deal once it is signed, to ensure Kenyan goods do not face disruptions accessing the UK market after Brexit. She said Kenya decided to go it alone in sealing the trade deal after some EAC member countries failed to attend meetings about the deal.
Kenya has agreed and has decided to negotiate an economic partnership agreement with the UK start at present, which we hope, and it is intended that the other East African countries also join. Once we have this deal and we, ramp up investment, in our estimation, if we were to even capture 5% of the UK market of the goods that we produce and export, in our estimation, our exports could be more than 3 trillion in a very, very short time.
And travelers to and from the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport now have an alternative means following the commissioning of a railway link service. The regular train and BRT bus service will help commuters save time by avoiding traffic jams usually experienced on roads leading to JKIA such as Mombasa Road. But as Betty Kiptum reports, this will be at a cost of 500 shillings one way.
Nairobi roads are synonymous with traffic jams. For those traveling between the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and Nairobi City Centre, one could easily miss a flight due to the time spent in traffic. Now, the Ministry of Transport has launched an option allowing commuters to travel from Nairobi City Centre to Embakasi via rail, then express buses to the airport. Travelers of the JKIA Express service will use the Airport South Road and will be picked and dropped off at the cargo area and at the JKIA Central Square.
At this time, when we are building the Nairobi Expressway, inevitably there will be traffic jams on Mombasa Road because of the construction of the expressway. And that's another demonstration of government's commitment to infrastructural development in terms of transportation.
Officials say the integration of the revitalized commuter rail service with bus rapid transit system is aimed at bridging the transportation gap linking the Nairobi Central Station as the nerve center and catchment areas.
This was a demonstration that indeed our transport system has come of age. It was a demonstration that we have an integrated, we have a consolidated transport system now in the city of Nairobi.
Even though it would cost 500 shillings one way, officials say it is affordable to commuters and would create employment and spur economic development.
As we do these investments, we are doing this because this service means a lot to Kenyans. Before it was commenced, Kenya Railways was doing only 14,000 passengers per day. Now, with 5 diesel multiple units, they are doing between 50 and 60,000 passengers every day.
It is estimated that travelers will take half an hour to move between JKIA and Nairobi City Centre. Betty Kiptum, Channel 1 Business.
Moving on, the government is set to start a drenching of the refurbished Kisumu port as efforts to revive maritime trade in the region gain momentum. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, who spoke in Kisumu on Monday, expressed optimism that the drenching works shall be completed ahead of the planned reopening of the port.
Dredging of Kisumu Port, which was launched in January last year, failed to take off even after the leasing of a 70-meter-long 4,000-ton dredger to undertake the works. The contractor was, according to the original design, expected to dredge a stretch of 61.3 kilometers, starting from the pier in Kisumu and go all the way to Mbita Island. The dredging exercise is back on the cards and is expected to kick off soon.
One of the things that need to be done is the dredging of the port. This has taken quite a bit of time, but now the President has given instructions that the work must start and be done under the supervision of the Kenya Navy. And this is going to start shortly.
Dredging is expected to help boost maritime activities by allowing larger vessels to dock at Kisumu Port. The dredging exercise is projected to be completed ahead of the planned reopening of Kisumu Port. Besides dredging the Kisumu Port and piers along the lake, the Mbita Causeway in Homa Bay will be opened to allow the Gulf of the lake to breathe.
This includes also the opening up of the Mbita Causeway, so that the Gulf here can breathe and deal with this issue of pollution of the Gulf.
This will be a major boost in the quest to revive maritime activities and improve cargo exports through the lake, effectively removing over-reliance on road transport.
A Kenyan fintech that enables small SACCOs and chamas to automate all their operation through cloud accounting has won the Akili Kali Innovation Challenge by the cooperative bank that targeted fintechs. Web SACCO, developed by Chamasoft, helps SACCOs and chamas save the huge amounts of capital that they would otherwise have required to acquire such ICT systems. Web SACCO was among 4 solutions by fintech featured by Cooperative Bank in the just concluded Akili Kali Innovation Challenge.
The winners of the Akili Kali Innovation Challenge were identified following a 5-week co-development program that culminated in an online demo day where the shortlisted candidates got an opportunity to showcase their products. Web SACCO, developed by Chamasoft, that enables small SACCOs and chamas to automate all their operations through cloud accounting, emerged top. This will have the effect of enabling members of SACCOs to access financial and other value-added services anywhere, anytime, instead of traveling to a branch to fill forms and go through a lengthy manual process. The Akili Kali Innovation Challenge aimed at enabling Coop Bank to identify and collaborate with passionate innovators in building the next generation of financial solutions that are beneficial to the cooperative movement and its membership of over 15 million Kenyans. NDT Dobi and Coop Bank have entered into a strategic deal worth 1 billion shillings to finance schools, churches, universities and fleet owners to purchase or lease Mercedes-Benz buses. Cooperative Bank's leasing arm, Coop Fleet Africa, tracks and monitors the vehicles, deals with routine maintenance, service and repairs the fleet so that the clients can focus on uninterrupted service. Meanwhile, Microsoft, through its For Africa initiative, has underscored the need for collaborations to accelerate agricultural innovations in Kenya. So far, Microsoft has partnered with, among others, Sun Culture, that helps farmers in Kenya improve their crop yields through solar-powered irrigation systems. Recognizing the need for continuous investment in this area, particularly through technology, Microsoft hosted a virtual roundtable to create awareness around the industry that is vital for survival of humanity.
In sports, Kenya Premier League champions Gor Mahia have been drawn to face CR Belouizdad of Algeria in the first round of the CAF Champions League later this month in Algiers. Kogalo qualified for the first round of the competition after beating APR of Rwanda 4-3 aggregate in the preliminary round. Elsewhere, Emerging Stars underwent coronavirus test ahead of the CECAFA tournament slated for Rwanda later this month.
Rwanda Premier League champions APR had won the first leg encounter against Kogalo after a 2-1 victory in Kigali, but could not sustain the pressure in the reverse fixture in Nairobi as Gor Mahia scored 2 quick goals in added time to win 3-1 and advance. Kogalo will face CR Belouizdad of Algeria on 22nd of this month in Algeria, while the return leg will be played on the 5th of next month in Nairobi. Belouizdad of Algeria qualified for the first round after a 4-0 aggregate win against Al Nasri of Libya. Elsewhere, national under-17 soccer team today underwent coronavirus tests as they prepare to participate in the 2020 edition of the CECAFA under-17 soccer tournament set to be held in Rwanda later this month. The team, coached by Olivia Page, is in Group A alongside Uganda, Ethiopia, and South Sudan. Group B comprises of hosts Rwanda, Djibouti, and Tanzania.
So we go with the players which are permitted. So I think now also the usually teams coming also with big players like Uganda and Tanzania, they have to adapt.
The morale in camp is very high. Everyone's very excited, motivated to do best for Kenya, you know. If we qualify for AFCON, as that's the plan, also win CECAFA, we're trying to get as far as possible. Everyone's motivated to do their best. I think it will break history in Kenya if we do it, so I think that's what's mostly motivating players.
I feel poa kwa hapa kwa sababu mali nimetoka ni mbali ndio nifike hapa. Nimepigana vita mob sana. Sasa nimepata hii chance, mimi nimefurahi. Na kitu najua tuko na watu wapoa hapa, tutaperform fit.
The event will be held under strict COVID-19 protocols between the 13th and 28th of this month in Rubavu and Huye districts in Rwanda. The winner in each group and the best runners-up will qualify for the semi-finals of the tournament, and the finalists will qualify for the Under-17 Africa Cup of Nations set for Morocco next year. Frederick Mwoki for Channel 1 Sports.
And reigning world marathon record holder Bridget Kosgei and also winner of this year's 2020 London Marathon and compatriot Ruth Chepngetich, who finished third in the London Marathon, have been treated to a 5-day tour of tourism attractions in Laikipia, Samburu and Lamu by the Kenya Tourism Board. KTB Chief Executive Officer Dr. Betty Radia said athletes have continued to positively profile the country with their sterling performances in international competitions. The CEO was speaking at KTB offices as she flagged off Kenya's 2020 London Marathon podium finishers for a 5-day-long familiarization holiday to key attraction sites in the country.
One of the things that we are proud of is that we now, first of all, have a ladies duo, which is great. But the fact that one is a world champion, another is a world marathon holder. I think it's important to understand the way that athletes put the destination on the map. As a marketing agency, KTB is proud to be able to, first of all, honor you and give you an opportunity as a nation to appreciate you for the work that you do for the nation. Every time the anthem is played, it puts Kenya on the map.
Nafurahia kwenda kutembelea Samburu, Laikipia na Lamu. Naenda kuona maendeleo ya Kenya kama tourist, na nafurahia kutembelea kule kuona vile inaendelea.
I'm much looking forward to tour in Lamu, Samburu, and Laikipia.
And on that note, we wrap up Channel 1 News Hour, but just a quick one. I see Kathy Gret. He's saying, happy for baby Pendo. May she be protected by God. Thank you, Kathy Gret. Sandy Olise, you're watching from Gisegeri, Embu County. Ron Kid Bliss Alewa. Peter Ashuman from the borderline of Kenya, Ethiopia, and Somalia. Thank you for everyone who was watching this broadcast and, of course, for your comments. My name is Ben Troy Njue. Simon Karuda has been our sign language interpreter for tonight. And I leave you in the capable hands of Irene Mchuma Odim, who is coming up next with the latest weather.
Good evening. This is Channel 1 weather updates. We are looking towards a sunny Tuesday over most parts of the country. The sun will rise earliest from the county of Mombasa at 6:02 a.m. But before we get into the nitty-gritty on that, let's establish what is happening tonight. Over most parts of the country, there are scattered wet conditions across the country, save for the northwestern parts of the country and the northeastern parts of the country, where there are partly cloudy conditions, and the wet conditions which are being experienced over the lakeside are mainly in the southwestern parts of the region. Tomorrow, it will mainly be sunny over the coastal strip, but the wet conditions that will be experienced over a few places will affect Malindi and Lamu. The northeastern parts of the country will also experience sunny intervals. These wet conditions that we're seeing here will mainly affect areas around Moyale. The northwestern will be sunny weather conditions that will also stretch to the Lake Basin region and western parts of the country. The capital, Meru, Nyeri, and also Machakos areas will experience cloudy weather conditions with sunny intervals in between. And in the afternoon, as much as we'll experience sunny intervals over most parts of the country, in Nyeri, Meru, and Nairobi will experience showers over a few places. The coastal strip will experience scattered wet conditions. There'll also be showers over a few areas in Garissa. The northeastern parts of the country and the northwestern parts of the country will mainly be sunny. The Lake Basin region will experience a different weather scenario in the afternoon. There'll be showers accompanied by thunderstorms which will affect Kisumu, Kakamega, Kisii, Eldoret. Nakuru will also experience showers during the afternoon hours. How are the temperatures faring on across the country? Tonight, the capital is experiencing highs of 16 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, the highest temperatures across the country will be experienced in Lodwar at 35 degrees Celsius. And for you in Mombasa, be prepared for highs of 33 degrees Celsius Tuesday. Up next is the international forecast. Do have a good night and see you tomorrow. God